good. We're going. Let's see what it's actually up to. We're a little bit live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to those that are actually happen to be wandering past. Just let me get set up a little bit. I'm at Birdwood in the Adelaide Hills, just in South Australia of all places. Down doing crazy things and visiting family and all that sort of stuff. So I figured, well, one of my days is I was going to come up to Birdwood. Now, Birdwood is east of Adelaide in the hills. Some of you may know this is area that got burnt recently. It's not far from here anyway that it got burnt. So I figured we might take a bit of a tour. And they said I can film all the way through, so guess what? I intend to. We'll make this into a reasonable thing. No, I don't want that one. So I've got my bag and I've got all my stuff, and I'm going to annoy a couple of people just to check in a minute. And just check to make sure that it's actually working and it's streaming to where it's supposed to. Yep, that one's working. Is this one working? And we're going to wander around and check out the cars. Hang on. Yep, that one's working. What about the YouTube one? Where's that? Should have sent me an email in a minute too, saying, "Oh, you're live." Yeah, it's really hard in YouTube to find where the channel is. My channel, at least. Anyway, I think I've got to go into emails. Yeah. So that's all working. Cool. I'm across 3 channels at the moment. This is pretty neat. So let's go inside. This is the National Motor Museum. They set it up 1998. It's been open. They've been having this particular race or a rally for 40 years this year. So let's go and have a wander. In we come. Hey. So these are some of the bikes and cars and all the rest of it from around several bits of Oz. And I'll slow down a bit. Some of the old restored thing, Model T, 1922. Power up with lights and stuff. They were real leather seats then too. What have we got here? Daimler. That would be amazing. Now, a jigger. What's a jigger? So it must have had a motor in the back. It was 4 horsepower for British Automotive and didn't bust. So that was its gearbox there. on 4 virtually they were motorcycle tyres for the time. So there were a few coach builders in Oz, and one of them, this was the original model made for Australia. It was based on a US model, but it was the Model 48. It came out in 1948 off a production line at Elizabeth, not far from here. And that was the one that came out of Melbourne. 1962, I remember all these. This is how they used to hoist all the vehicles up. You used to hydraulic hoist, lift them up. I remember that. This is the Veyron. We never wander and have a bit of a check, see if they're not scoring any nice comments and stuff. It's actually picked up now where we're at. I'll come back a bit. So that's an old big, 1927 Bugatti. And the old Tojo body. Yeah, reintroduced the Tirana. I wish they did. That would have been a good move. There's the 5-door. The nearest they got is the latest Holden or Opel that we've got now. Nice gardens outside though. And we're coming up here as a kid. So was that a concept SS6? It was a hatchback prototype for the VY Commodore. So you could actually lay down in that one. I bet they had a hutch too. They used to years ago with a Tirana, or yeah, they used to years ago. Yeah, I can hear myself. Turned it off. And dinky toys. I used to have lots of dinky toys. So Nasetta, where's the microcar built? Bubble car. Silly, a motorcycle on wheels. A BMW Isetta 300. So it had speeds on the front and a handbrake. A microcar. Very good. Imagine driving in that one in traffic. If you had an accident, you'd be stuck. Definitely stuck. So, a 1958 Triumph Thunderbird. So this is our pre-unit with, this is before they had everything standardised, so all the gear changing on a motorcycle was done on the left. These are pre-unit, so this had the brakes and stuff on the right, and they had drum brakes then, not disc brakes like they do now. And a big drive through the middle, and the hub and the brakes are all together, and a big wide seat. They don't have the big white seat anymore, they're skinny little bums. So what's this, a Tinky toy? Someone's made up something. It's a third scale model of a Leyland Badger. So they did a lot of stuff with transport around the place. And the old bus. I don't remember these, but it used to be the MTT. That was a fair old while. So, what else we got here? Delage.
Don't touch, Harley.
Was imported. 4 litre 8 cylinder from France. An extremely long wheelbase. And converted to right-hand drive. For some reason we ended up right-hand drive. The rest of the world ended up left. 1937 Bentley. With the crazy big headlights. And the motor was half the length of the car. And Hudson, impressive. Could be someone's private collection. Now these were Lightburn. Now Lightburn used to be a manufacturer in South Australia of white goods, and they decided to go and make cars. So it was run by a little 300cc Villiers engine, so a little industrial motor. So Suzuki did the same sort of thing years later, but they had a little wagon, and check this out. That was the 3 on the tree gear stick. It was pretty basic. It was a fiberglass body though, on little wheels. Let's go see. That looks like Mad Max. What do you think? We'll go around and have a look at some trucks afterwards, but that looks like a Mad Max type thing. Hills hoist, hey? So 1 tonner, we have 1 tonners around now. What was that? Vanguard Overland. What was that? Panel van. That was the the precursor to what we would call a Hummer now, a little four-wheel drive GI vehicle. So lots would remember the Patrol over many years. They're a basic 3-speed. There's some that loved them, some that hated them. Let's have a look over here. There's plenty of, there used to be mobile shops, and I guess that's what these were. So they were general hawkers. So they'd sell off the back of the van, or the bloke would go around and sell, you know, clothing and sewing equipment. I'm going to light in here. Hang on. Yes, I can. I can set a light going to what it looks like inside. So we'd get those too. They'd just be 1-ton vans. They may be set up so they can take dual wheels, but that was just a lorry. That was a pickup. I don't remember the buses as a kid though, but I do remember the Dodge pickups. We used to, I remember people having, they'd get the 6 and they'd use nitro and drag them out at Virginia. Pretty impressive though. So the thing with heavy vehicles in early days is the brakes would give, and they weren't able to control them going down hills because the brakes would just get hot and they weren't very efficient. But that's an old Diamond Rio. So we know them now as Western Star trucks. But imagine being in that in summer here when it's extremely hot, and that's what we had to do, or what they had to do then. So this would have been doing crane work and just general tipper work. With that would have been just general tipper work. Then there was the fire trucks. Remember they had to do 7 stories because that's as high as they could get. No hydraulics on these either. It's pretty neat. So the old Merryweather, that had a pump on the back. Just rating it. Chain drive. Like most things, it was imported. What else is around here? Let's go and have a wander. The old Dodge. Just with a canopy. Nothing to see too smart, but it's cool. 1916 Dodge, eh? With a little fuel tank on the back. It would have been dire if they needed to, if someone ran up the back of them. Or go in there afterwards. It's a little Mini. They were the quickest thing on the road. They were small, agile. Then we had rollers. This must be someone's private collection. So, the old Tojo. One thing my father loved was his Tojo. They were originally brought into Australia to work on the Snowy River scheme, which is incidentally up in flames at the moment. So all that area in southeastern Australia, they wanted to dam and put hydro plants and stuff in. But this is an old troop carrier. So, pretty impressive stuff. What's in here? I've seen a few of these around, especially in videos. People love them. They get around in videos now, and this one looks to be set up and restored. I don't think we ever owned one, but you imagine the length of it. It's as long as having a truck with the big boot out the back. They don't make boots anymore. So, this is for Leyland Brothers. We used to watch Leyland Brothers as kids. It would be our Sunday night evening to see the Leyland Brothers. They'd go everywhere. So, what's this thing doing? We're losing signal. Never mind. We could do. So how's that? That's a little Toyota 2003 4-cylinder. This one's a Harnett. It says that it's a 600cc small thing. We're losing signal. Alright, we have to get out of here. We have to get out of here. Go back down here. Oh. That must be the last one on it. Yeah, no, it's got. Get this video to settle down. No entry. Did that actually settle down? It's not settling down. Nice up here though. It's nice and quiet. I thought there are even motorbikes up here as well. I thought, yeah, a whole array of motorbikes and stuff in here. What's in? School, is it? Yeah, there's the motorbikes. Struggling though. Let's see how we go. Wow. So an old knucklehead Harleys. The boys would be happy with these. So, PSA, we used to have, where is the Bantam? We used to have a Bantam which is similar to that, and that actually had a seat on it. We used to ride around as kids. So we used to ride a piece of Bantam as a kid.
Ali, enough of that. Look, Ali. There's Ali there. Right behind. Look. That's your right.
Wow. So, Matchless ended up being an off-road motorcycle. So that was the off-road thing, and the other one was a 600 square 4, so it had 4 cylinders in a square pattern. These were, what's this dirt tracker? Imagine going around with that as a dirt track motorcycle. Wow. They still make this, still make a Kawasaki. And I remember that thing on the road. They'd pop a wheelie. So, Beamers. That was a horizontally opposed Beamer. Do you remember these two? They're all really old. So the Super Sport. Ah. So the Indians, we've seen the world's fastest Indian, where he went and highly modified an Indian motor and took it across the Bonneville. That's a really interesting story. It is definitely. Look at all these. We're going to run out of battery in a minute. And I'll keep walking a bit more, then I'll go and set up the other camera. Wow, the times when we used to have number plates on the front of motorcycles, and they decided that they weren't safe. Wow. Scout. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go out for a minute and come back with the other camera.